Hello everyone. Okay, I'm just touching up. I did my base face with our liquid foundation on my business page, which I hope some of you guys are following. Just gonna wait a few minutes for people to log on. Oh my God, while Devin screams out there while Alex is supposed to be taking care of her. You know. Do you guys hear her crying? That's what happens when you take a 30-minute nap. Hey ladies. Okay, if you guys are catching the replay, not you guys, because you guys are on here live. If the live button is gone, you're watching the replay, so please give me a hashtag replay so I can come back and say hi and thank you for watching. I'm just trying to organize my life a little bit to get ready for this because it has been a hot mess express day, which is what I titled my live that I just did. Okay, I don't need those. I'm gonna do this palette again. I need that. Is this sharpened? It is, because I did do that. I have that, I have that. I have my oil. Okay. I know, it's my favorite. Which I would like never. I do need to buy, thanks Monica. I'm trying to think of things I can like teach people and things that, basically it's things that I've learned not being a makeup artist. So I feel like if it's things I've learned over like 5 years of seriously never wearing eyeshadow, never touching my brows. I mean, I don't even, you guys, seriously. I just like didn't wear, I think I wore powder. I would try like different foundations like CoverGirl. I mean, just gross, not great. So I feel like I really think about things that I've learned just being in this business that I can teach people. Just like little tips and tricks that, unless you're just watching a ton of makeup videos all the time, which most people probably aren't, you're just not gonna know these things. So I try to do it that way. Okay, so Stina, my friend Stina, taught me the word smize yesterday when I was asking for examples, which I don't watch reality TV. I had a really stressful job like 10-ish years ago. So when I would get home and I'd put like the Kardashians or like Real Housewives on, and I would get such bad anxiety just watching them scream at each other, and I was just like, I cannot do it anymore. So I don't watch reality TV like at all. So I didn't know that term. So it's smile with your eyes. Didn't know that. I mean, it makes total sense, and I can see Tyra going like this, smize with her, you know, crazy. Tyra Briggs cracks me up. Anyway, hi Diane. So we're gonna do some tips and tricks for eyes. Honestly, stop watching reality TV. Like, it is so stressful. Just like watching people fight, like think about, and like, you know, when you watch TV, you get invested in like these characters. And I just really think then you start to like, I don't know. It was seriously, I would come home and like try to, you know, decompress and be eating my dinner, and then I'd start watching people fighting over stupid stuff and throwing drinks on each other, and I could seriously feel like my heart beat like going faster, 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 and I just felt like my blood pressure was skyrocketing. So I stopped. Okay, let's start with, Stina specifically was saying that she's struggling really with like dryness from like wearing masks, which totally makes sense, and I completely understand. I'm not gonna put this on because I have lip stuff on, but when you're wearing a mask, I mean, it really is rubbing right there on your eyes. So let's talk about some things. Let's start with that. So you can do a couple different things. Hi, Gail. So this you can't get, I think it's out of stock. So any sort of like hydrating beauty oil, I mean, just a tiny bit, because the issue is you want to stay hydrated, but you don't want any of your other makeup to start like smearing. So oils can be really tricky. If you're going to do this, something like this, make sure you do it like while you're doing your moisturizer. So you wash your face, put some moisturizer on, and seriously do the like one tiny dab, split it between both fingers, and then really massage it in under your eyes, and then completely let it dry. Like, don't rush right into your makeup, because it's just not, basically you're just going to be mixing a bunch of oil with your makeup. So you really, really need to make sure that it dries. You can even just add a drop of beauty oil type products in your, I think Diane does this. If you're dry all over, just mix it into your moisturizer. But again, you have to let it really soak in and let your skin completely absorb it before you move on. Primer, I always talk about primer. Like, if you're not wearing primer, you're missing a giant step. If you're not wearing primer and you're wearing any sort of foundation, powder, liquid, spray, any BB Flawless, anything, like I even wear it with my BB cream, you're missing a really big step, especially if you're running into dryness, because your skin is basically absorbing your makeup, and then like that's it. So even if you're wearing like a BB Flawless, which is a tinted moisturizer, if you're not putting that primer in to kind of seal off your skin before you do your makeup, like your skin's just slowly absorbing it, then it's gone, now your mask is rubbing, you're dry. Yeah, so Diane does it under her moisturizer. So I know Diane does, she really takes time and lets her stuff sit. Yeah, I love it on my neck too. So she'll do her oil, and then she'll let it totally absorb, and then she does her moisturizer. You can also mix it, kind of play around with whatever works for you. So another thing is to, and I don't think you can buy this right now either, but I think there's a lot of our stuff's coming back in June and July, so just keep this in your mind. But our hydrating primer, you could always just add a touch more underneath your eyes, which I do, and I think I'm gonna actually do that right now. So I do have on, I skipped all my under eyes, but this, you could even just, you know, lightly dab it. I did the small, I mean, you can't even really see it. I did the smallest amount. Okay, and so another tip is concealer. So let's move to the concealer part. So if you are using our Skin Perfecting Concealer, which is incredible and the best, for me it is a little drying, especially for my under eyes. Not when I'm doing spot concealing, it's incredible and it does not move and it is so awesome. But it is a little drying for my under eyes. So what I really like to do, you have a couple options if you run into that, if you're using our concealer. You can mix it with some BB Flawless. You can, I wouldn't mix it with a beauty oil because the oil is going to really break it down, but you can mix it with a primer that, like, to change the consistency a little bit. That works, and you're like mixing it with some primer. You can spray a little bit of the setting spray. Same thing. You're mixing it in, you're kind of breaking it down a little bit. Diane, that's funny. Spray it with some setting spray, or you can even spray it with some rose water. Same thing, you're just kind of, you're like hydrating the concealer, and I mean, you are changing the consistency up, and it's definitely not going to be as concealing as it is if you don't mess with it at all. But you could also layer at that point. You know, you don't need to, I guess, stick with one layer if you really need the coverage under your eyes. So those are some of my tips and tricks if you are struggling. If you're using a concealer and you feel like the concealer's a little drying, try mixing it or spraying it. Like, I don't know if I'd go in with water, but using something like a BB cream or like a setting spray or, you know, a rose water will really help. I really like to mix it with BB Flawless, but there's a lot of different options that you can do. The other thing, my general go-to for under eyes is using our lightest shade of BB Flawless it's the shade Cream, and it's a ton of products, so it will seriously last you like a year, probably longer depending on how much you use. And I do the BB Flawless, I do it on the back of my hand, I warm it up with my finger, I dab, and then I grab my beauty blender after it's kind of melted into my skin, and then I work it into my under eyes. While it's still a little dewy, which it's a really dewy product, you then take some setting powder and then you, what they call bake. You're gonna set under your eye with that setting powder and again, let it melt into your skin, and then you can kind of brush away with a brush. You can even grab more setting powder on and kind of brush away any excess. And I really like doing it that way because the BB Flawless is so moisturizing, and then the tinted setting powder is really thin and really fine and really translucent. So I just don't think you don't really get that cakey look. So if you're doing maybe a powder on top, that also could be the issue. So basically my general takeaway for under eyes for dryness is just really try to use a thinner product. I think the thicker the product, the more chance you're gonna have of it drying out and looking cakey. So I hope that was good information. I'm trying to decide now that I just gave you guys. So I have that hydrating primer underneath that I'm letting dry. I'm just going to kind of work it in with my beauty blender just to make sure it's worked in under my skin. And then I gotta get going. That was a lot of talking for me. I think what I'm gonna do today is the BB Flawless, which is, I'm just gonna do my go-to because you guys, this is my go-to, and that was way too much. And look at that, was way too much. I'm gonna have to waste all that. Damn it. And just warm it up. Oh, it's because it had a little clog in there. That's weird. I use it like I just used it. So really warm it up on the back of your hand. You don't have to, but I do. And there it is. And then you're just gonna make that V. So having a bright under eye is part of Smize. So this shade is, you can tell, it's obviously multiple shades lighter than my actual skin tone. And I like to really use my finger because my finger really helps to melt the product into my skin without really, and you get like the maximum usage of the actual product, because you're not using a brush or anything else to take the product off. So same thing, this eye, oops. Make that V. And you really, like, even though the BB Flawless is a tinted moisturizer, because this is such a light shade on me, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm gonna just blend it. I really do feel like it gets the job done of concealing my under eyes. Do you see the difference? Like how it's like slowly melting into my skin and just doing the job for me. So, and I do like to bring it up a little bit, like you can see. So the whole point of Smize, now that I know what it means and I'm hip to you guys, is you want, like, a smile is what? A smile is this, and you're bringing the focal point up, okay? So that's the whole point. So that's what we're gonna do with our eyes. We're gonna bring the focal point of our eyes up this way. So whether you're smiling or not, you definitely, your eyes look like they're smiling, right? Okay, so look at all that product I have to waste, dang. So let's let that soak in just a little bit longer. Let me have a drink of my, do you guys drink Zevia? It's seriously zero everything. This is the cream soda, it has no caffeine in it. Zero sugar, caffeine free, zero everything. Oops. Condensation. It's so good. I love Zevias. You can find them at the grocery store. Okay, let's put that concealer away. Now let's go and see how, I mean, it did so much of the work for me. I'm just gonna blend it out just a little bit, just to really make sure there's no crazy harsh lines. Crazy, and you can even take some of that excess and do it on the top too. I'm not great at remembering to do the tops because I know I'm gonna go in with, see, like, I mean, already it's just took away that hollowing out underneath my eyes with the illusion. Setting powder. So now this has a little bit, you know, it's lightly damp. And this is still lightly damp. So it just gives the translucent setting powder something to cling onto and just really melt into the rest of the BB Flawless. And I like using a beauty blender here because it can really, you can really pack the setting powder in. Like, do you see what it does? It's, I mean, this stuff is magical. I love the setting powder so much. Okay, so now that I have my under eyes done, and this, I mean, this is my go-to. This is what I do. Like, it is not, this is basically what I do every time I do my makeup. It stays and it lasts, and it definitely is more moisturizing for me than if I do any sort of concealer. But if I'm getting crazy glam, I will mix the BB Flawless with the concealer. Okay, moving on. Let's go to just some super basic eyeshadow. I'm gonna use palette 4 again because it's available. Super easy, you don't have to think twice about it. And I'm just gonna stick with these browns again because I feel like it's safer for everyone. Let's just be safe. So let me grab all my shadow brushes in one spot that I'm gonna use. Excuse me. And don't forget this part. Okay, I think, oops, sorry. I think that's really all I wanted. I mean, my main go-tos are these two. Where's my fluffy brush? I love these two. It's a small crease brush, and this isn't even one of ours. Oh, we'll use one of ours. This is our fluffy crease brush, which I actually love. And, oh, I do like this too. This is our blending brush. So really any brushes, it doesn't matter. I do like to use ours though. Let me grab, let me scoot up. You grab, scoot up, reposition. Okay, so I'm just brushing my brushes off. So I do like to start with a fluffier type brush. So this is gonna be our blending brush. Let me move this over. Okay, so I'm gonna start, to me, this is the most important part of Smize, this shade. So it's continuing on the theme of like highlighting. So this is like a pearlescent champagne shade. It's called Tender. So you really want to make sure you get some of that highlight into the corner of your eye, the tear duct area. That really friendlies up your eye. Like, hi, look me in the eye, I'm nice. Not like my dog Bruno, barking at nothing. And then I'm just, this is going to be my like main base shade because, AKA your transition shade. Oh, Bruno. And I love it if I can pick something like this that's shimmery. I don't know why, but I prefer it because it kind of does that highlighting work for me right in the areas that I need. And then you can even, without even redabbing it, bring it up onto your brow bone. Just gives your brow bone an extra little pop of pizzazz. Okay, so there's that. And then even later, actually, I missed a little bit right here. At the end, you'll see me go back in and just finish it off with this small crease brush. Okay, so now this is where really Smize comes into play, is making it a V over here. So then your the visual, hi Ed, the visual brings you up this way because you want the focus to go like this. So I'm going to take this lighter of the brown, and you can just do a tiny little bit because you don't have to go crazy, but you just bring it right into your crease, which is this part of your eye, wherever you can stab it in. A lot of makeup terminology. And I'm not going to do a really crazy dramatic eye because I want it to be something that everybody can do, but I'm making this V shape. So you'll see a lot of makeup artists really go outside more in like this area, which is pretty. I like to just be a little bit more precise because then it gives a, what am I thinking of saying? Gives it almost, a guide to follow when you're doing any sort of winged eyeliner. So if I can you see that V shape right there? That's what I'm trying to do. That's my goal. Because that is going to give the illusion that you're smiling and you're doing this when you're maybe not. So other eye. And you can do this with even very lighter shades than this. You don't even have to go as dark as this, you guys. You can really pick any shades you want. The rule of thumb is just light, dark, dark. Light, medium, dark. There we go. Let's use some actual terminology of the English language. Light, dark. Oh man. Okay. So that's a fairly light smoky eye, right? So all I'm gonna do now is just take my fluffy crease brush, and I am gonna soften the edges a little bit and just blend it together into that base / transition color, just so it's not super harsh. One of my favorite makeup tutorials of all time, and I found it again and just shared it to my business page like 2 days ago. It's a girl that does a makeup tutorial like if we were, so this one is the fluffy crease brush. I started with our blending brush, and then I do all darker shades with just the smaller crease brush. But she does a tutorial like if we had YouTube in the 90s, and something she always says is, you want the lines to be as harsh as possible. Do not blend. Because we really, I mean, the 90s, what were we doing? Okay, so you do want to blend. Okay, and just make sure it's somewhat even. But do you guys see what it's doing? It's really creating that line so it looks like you're like, even under a mask. Ugh, don't say math. Okay, now darker, right? So just, I mean, I'm taking the tiniest bit amount, you guys. And then just really in the smallest part, you're just gonna really darken that teeny little V. See the difference? Look at the difference. Doesn't it just make your eye look a little bit more awake and friendly? One more little dab. And just remember that with eyeshadow, you can always layer. It's easier to take a smaller amount and layer than to have to fix it. So just remember that part. So I'm just, see how far back I'm holding the brush? I'm using the lightest touch and just really darkening up that outer V with the smallest brush I have, which is this crease brush. It's probably my favorite shadow brush that Unique makes. It's just perfect. Then I'm gonna go back in with the fluffy crease brush, and just on the very outer corner, I'm gonna really try and leave the very inner part alone, but I am gonna blend on the outer portion again. Just a little blending action. Let me have some Zevia. Okay. Now that's really it for my Smoky IV. But what I do love to do, and I think this is also really important for Smize, is find some sort of, now I know not everybody is loving like a glittery shadow. I totally get that. You could leave it like this, put on an eyeliner. It's very welcoming and I think really pretty. So two options to make your eyes look even brighter. You could take, and I was not prepared for this. Let's see if I can find it. No. All right, give me 1 second because I just thought of this. And when I was realizing that not everybody probably wants a glitter shadow. Okay, well, that's kind of crazy. You guys, I have so many shadow. Okay, this is decent. So this is a shade that we have, and who knows, it may or may not be in stock, but you could find something super simple, similar to this. But this shade is called Pessimistic, right here. You can see it's almost white. It's like a cream shade right here. Pessimistic. You could take something like that and grab it on your finger and just put it right on your lid. It's gonna add, it's a matte shade, so you're not gonna have glitter, but it's going to add, it adds just a little bit more dimension. I don't know if you can see the difference, but it just opens up your eye quite a bit. So especially if you have more of a hooded eye, when you're blinking and you're talking to people, as you're opening your eyes, it's gonna be something that nobody even notices, but as you're opening your eyes, they're gonna get that peep of that lighter or glittery shade, and it just makes your eyes look more open. So I like to do it, since I'm using this palette, I do like to use this Secretive shade, which is like a coppery gold, and it has a little bit thicker flecks of gold to it. So same thing, and using your finger is helpful because if it's something with like gold, you could even like spray your finger with some rose water or something, just get it wet. You could even do that. Let's do that. Where's my rose water? Let's see what that does. Let it dry a little bit. It works better on a brush than on your finger. Right, see, we're trying new things. Yeah, it works better with your finger. Anyway, if you just more press it in with your finger, you're gonna have a lot less fallout if it's anything that's glittery. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. Okay, now I always like to finish going back with the crease brush. Now that I've kind of blended things out, and I take our, like I said, our crease brush, and I'm gonna go, sorry, because now I'm really like, what brush am I using? I have no idea. I'm going back in with that shade I started with, Tender, and you can do a lot of things. You can fix things if you needed to like fix anything. That's why you start with a lighter shade first, because at the end, if you need to fix anything, it will seriously blend right out. So you can fix it. You can even soften it. Going back in that area where you highlight and just really making, thank you, Monica, the highlight area pop. But do you guys see the difference? How it just lifts your eyes? That's kind of the point of doing that V right here. It's bringing the illusion this way, which is smiling. Okay, now liner. I know a lot of people, liner can be scary. And I do think you get the best Smize liner, thanks Gail, with liquid. Now you could do a couple things. You could take a pencil liner, or you could not do liner at all. Is this on your actual eye, and just seriously throw a little wing like right on the edge. But I'm just gonna do a full liner. So this is a liner you can't get. Should I use our Dip and Draw? No, because I don't have the new one open, because I'm still an idiot and still have an open one. So I don't know. and I don't know where it is. And I say this every single time. All right, we're moving on. So this is just a felt tip liner. And I do love this liner because you can actually take like this side and more like stamp and drag. So you can get super close and tight to the lash line. And then the end, obviously you can't, but it helps something like this just to get it right into. That's what I do love about a liquid. You can get so much closer to your lash line and you don't really have a thick liner. You can have just your eyeshadow do all the work there. Okay, now the wing, which I know a lot of people don't do a wing, and you don't have to do a crazy wing, but it really makes a huge difference. And now you, oh, actually, let me do this first. Another little trick is because now you have product that you put on here from doing your under eyes, you can easily go in with your beauty blender and clean anything up that you need to. I just literally like take it and drag. And then if you need to go back in and fix it, you can do that. It just gives you a little bit more crisp of a line. Yeah, ooh, scary wing. You can do it. And practice makes perfect. And I've been doing a lot smaller wings, and I actually like it even more. So now you kind of have a guide right here, right? So you just really have to kind of stick within those lines, and that's it. See, just a teeny. And then you just connect it. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys, because that is not. That was actually terrible. But it's fine. I was just gonna go like this. You just kind of stick with that guide. It just is like defining the V you just made. Once you put on mascara, like you really can't even see it. Okay, let's do the other side. Like good enough. Like your mascara is gonna cover so much of it. So I'm going right into that lash line. Okay, you could stop there because you do have that line. You don't have to. You do have that illusion from the eyeshadow, but it does, I mean, you can see the difference. It does define it a little bit better. See, it does not have to be anything crazy. I'm doing like a teeny, I mean, obviously I have to now make this one longer. That's my better eye. This is my better one anyway. This one's harder for me. And they don't have to be perfect. They don't, you're just really doing it to define the shadow more than anything, but it does make a difference. Okay. One of my other tricks, and I've done this before, white eyeliner. So basically, I'm gonna warm it up a little bit on my hand because these are so smudge proof. It really does help to warm it up. But this is the shade Pristine, just a white eyeliner. And you wanna take your, you don't now wanna touch your eyes because you did your makeup already. So you're gonna take your beauty blender, you're gonna go right into that lash line, or the waterline, sorry. This doesn't do anything to my eyes. My eyes don't burn, like nothing happens. But essentially what you're doing when you do this, and I really do this only when I'm getting like full glam, but as I back up, what you can see is it essentially is gonna make your eye look bigger because it's another illusion of making the whites of your eye appear a little bit bigger. I'm trying to think of what else, how else to explain it. I mean, I think that's probably, you guys get it. Okay, hold on. But that's like a super simple trick that really does help like make you look more awake, opens your eyes a little bit more. The awake part for sure. So if you're feeling tired and you feel like you're looking tired, throw some white eyeliner. Yeah, white eyeliner does help. And then to really accentuate the white, you do my super favorite trick. I mean, you could put, if you're a mascara on your bottom lashes kind of gal and you don't feel like it has any bleeding or anything, so be it, go for it. That's just not how I like to do it. So I take any sort of like angled flattish brush, and I'm just going to do the light brown and just do a tiny bit and go right under my lashes because I have really long lower lashes. And so I'm now not putting the shadow on top of the white. I'm putting it directly underneath, essentially. And it's mimicking that I have mascara on my lower lashes without actually having to do it. I know this is one of Tracy's favorite tricks. And this is really helpful too if you have, some people have like oily skin around their eyes, and so liners even will smudge. This should take care of that. Like, this is why you do this. You can even kind of like smudge it out a little bit with, so now I'm putting that on. Then you can just take like a Q-tip and you can even just like smudge it out a little bit so you make sure there's no fallout. It lightens it a little bit and makes sure, and it just ensures, not makes sure, it ensures no fallout. Like, that will stay forever. And then if you do have any fallout from your eyeshadow, I can't think, then you can kind of just brush it away because now you have setting powder on and it shouldn't stick it. You should just be able to brush it away. Okay. I think that's it for my tricks. I'm not gonna do my mascara again and take up a ton more time because you guys can go watch the mascara tutorial. That's what I would do, the exact same thing, my mascara. My biggest tip I always talk about for mascara is get the back side of your lashes. So this is what I call the front side, and then blink and get the back side of your lashes to get so much more length and volume. And I think that's it. But you can see, let's do the final. And that's without even mascara on. So those are my tips for, it's a little bit of eyeshadow tutorial, hidden from the back, and a little bit of my under eye tutorial. I think those were all my tricks I wanted to talk about. I hope that helps everyone. I hope you learned something. Yeah, see? Tracy, you get it. All right, everyone, if anybody has any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below or just shoot me a private message even. Please give me a replay, hashtag replay, if you are not catching the live. Also, if you comment twice in this live, I'm gonna do a drawing probably in a couple days for another epic mascara that I have to give away. And you guys, this is the best mascara ever, so you want it. But that's it. Thank you guys so much who were able to join me live today. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your love and your comments. And thank you, Stina, for this Smize idea. I hope this was helpful when you get to watch the replay. And yeah, well, I think I might do some skincare next Thursday. So if anybody has any other ideas of what you would maybe want to learn from me, I don't know how I became a teacher, but here I am. Let me know. In terms of like makeup and skincare. I mean, we can even start moving on to like hair and stuff. And I do want to do a tutorial of this tortilla pizza that I make because it truly is amazing. So we might be getting there soon. Yeah, see, you really don't even, this really does make a difference even without mascara. But I am a mascara lover. But that's it. Okay, you guys. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.